Flint Cultural Center Academy kindergartners looked at toys from the FIA collection and discussed toys they own. Then students invented and drew a unique toy they would like to see created in the world. Can you guess how the people depicted here are feeling? Homeschool students ages 9 and up looked at how artists convey emotions through portraits, then used those techniques to design a self-portrait that expresses a particular emotion. Homeschool students ages 9 and up created these portraits. Students first learned about artist and illustrator Hanuk Piven. Piven creates humorous portraits of celebrities and political figures with found objects that relate and represent the subject's personality. Students selected a celebrity or person they know as the subject of their portrait. Then they created a base for their portrait out of collaged paper and used objects that represent their subject to form their facial features and other details. Kindergartners and first graders from Flint Cultural Center Academy discussed how straight lines can be used to construct shapes to make these artworks. Using cardboard dipped in black paint, students printed lines to make pictures. When they were done, students added color to their artworks using oil pastels. During an African art unit, third graders at the Flint Cultural Center Academy learned about the history, deeper symbolic meaning, and cultural significance of kente, woven cloths, in the Ashanti Kingdom of Ghana. Inspired by the Ashanti's use of color, line, shape, and patterns to communicate ideas, beliefs, stories, and values, students created their own kentes using paper weaving techniques. The colors, patterns, and symbols were carefully chosen to represent specific ideas that are important to the individual student. Using oil pastels and watercolor paint, homeschool students ages 6 to 8 communicated their feelings and emotions through color, line, shape, and facial expressions in these self-portraits. Upper elementary-aged homeschool students created these prints by painting on handmade aluminum foil printing plates and printing the composition on paper. Middle school students from St. John Vianney Catholic School created these illuminated letters and rosaries. After studying the history of rosaries and looking at a variety of ways they have been made over time, students made beads by hand out of paper, colored wooden beads, and created a clay crucifix. They assembled their rosaries, and they were later taken to Rome by their teacher to be blessed near the Vatican. Students also studied medieval manuscript illumination and designed their own illuminated letter. After planning their design, students embossed sheets of aluminum and added color with permanent markers. These still-life artworks were made by homeschool students ages 9 and up. Students discussed still-life paintings in the FIA galleries and determined the reasons people have been creating them for centuries. After talking about proportion, gesture, and contour drawing, students chose from a variety of objects and items they brought from home to design their own still life. They used oil pastels to draw their personalized composition. The artworks on the left are the result of a unit on the human figure and portraiture. Third grade students at Flint Cultural Center Academy began by studying the proportions of the human body and breaking the body down into simplified geometric shapes. Students used movable paper mannequins as a visual reference and chose an expressive body position to recreate in their artwork. They practiced drawing these expressive figures in action and then created a printing plate of their figure using foam sheets and cardboard. The printing plates were inked with water-based markers, and the image was pressed onto damp paper to create these prints. On the right, first graders at the Flint Cultural Center Academy experimented with color mixing to create these artworks. Students used primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and white tempera paint on black paper. Homeschool students ages 9 and up carefully practiced drawing their facial features from observation and positioning them in proper proportion. Then students carefully drew a portrait of themselves and added color with gouache paint and colored pencils. After discussing portraits in the FIA galleries, homeschool students ages 6 to 8 studied facial proportions and placement, and then used tempera paint and oil pastels to create a variety of self-portraits. Homeschool students ages 9 and up examined games from around the world in the FIA collection and created both a memory game and a game of their own invention. To create their memory game, students chose a theme and used printmaking techniques to make the backs of their cards all look the same. They drew and painted the front of each card individually. For their invented game, each student devised their own set of rules and created a game board, game pieces, and a randomizer out of materials of their choosing. Homeschool students 10 and up designed figure sculptures of people or animals in motion. To create their sculptures, they first made a wire armature, covered it in plaster gauze, and painted it with acrylic paint. These boxes were created by students ages 9 and up in the FIA homeschool program. Students learned about the Italian cassoni, or wedding chests, in the Bray Gallery, and then designed and painted a box of their own.